Okay, got another walking and talking. This question is from jackknight6559. And let me know if you guys don't want me to read your names off. There's some DMs that I've gotten. I won't be reading those for obvious reasons. Those are more private people. They just asked that if they could remain private. I'll absolutely honor that. No worries. But if you don't want me like throwing your name out there, I won't do that. Just kind of let me know. I just assume if you're posting in a public forum, you're okay with that. Do you have any suggestions for an aspiring game dev? Like any indie games you think would be fun but you haven't seen yet? Ooh, that's a fucking good question. Jeez. Well, I can tell you one thing that my buddies and I have discussed that we think is kind of unforgivable, and I mean that in just like the most non-serious way ever. And that is having couch co-op on a game and not online co-op. I don't even know how the hell those games released. Yeah, I'm gonna go for the lights, obviously. Uh, you'll have one that like we've been excited for, like a beat 'em up, and it's like couch co-op but no online. We're like, what are you doing in this day and age? So don't make any couch co-ops that don't have online, if that makes sense. Absolutely have couch co-op. That's great. Anything that has options is awesome, but don't put that in and then not have online. So that's your first thing. Don't do that. Uh, I think this was a concept that should have been introduced like 2015. This meet your maker. This is awesome. The only problem I've had with it truly is that it didn't come out sooner. I'm like, what were we? This is so fun. You build traps and have your buddies go through it or other people. Like how great. Um, but I'm trying to think. I think is there one that you kind of go through people's daydreams? I know that's very vague, but kind of shifting in and out of different kind of realities and navigating someone's this might be going too far to be honest with you, but navigating various mental illnesses and getting this is I'm way out here with this, so please bear with me and just stay for the ride. Oh boy, I picked the wrong base, huh? Like consult a bunch of people uh in depression and kind of what does it feel like? What are you feeling? Let other people like wander through that mind and go, Jesus Christ, it's horrible. And you're like, yeah, it sucks. And then you can be like, okay, I understand a little bit better. Or go through someone who's just ADD or any number of I don't even know if you want to call that a mental illness or what. Maybe they're just, divergencies. Oh man, this is not the base to fucking talk, huh? I think we got the bird down. We did. That's stuck up there. I'm trying to just think, like, and maybe you just go through the various states of human emotion, like go inside an angry mind and just see how awful it is. Or, I don't know how many kind of states there are, but being able to get perspectives from other people and know, even with a preface on the game that, hey, these are kind of we've consulted with people who are actually in the throes of this. Cover them all because the more exposure things get and the more people understand stuff, the less afraid they are. People don't like things that aren't familiar to them. People don't like things that, if I'm a certain way for a long period of time and then one day I just stop doing that, people get upset, because you're kind of disrupting their order. And haha. All right, you got one bolt. You got to focus a little bit better than you're doing, my man. It's okay. That's what it's about. But that's one idea. They've actually done a lot of cool ideas that I thought are great to begin. Oh, that's just a little too low. Oop, that one hit, I think. I'll get these back and then kind of turn around a little bit. Headshot Tater Tot. You need to go. Let me get you back. What else is here? I think that's it. Something like that, although kind of Psychonauts did that, right? Kind of going into the different personalities. So maybe not. They've done kind of time travel where you're going back to historical events. Although I would argue that they need to make a game kind of depicting the interesting parts of history, because that was a subject that I thought was fucking dog shit in school, and that is just could not be further from the truth. I really thought that was kind of a throwaway subject. Why do I give a shit about this guy in a powdered wig and what the hell he did 400 years ago? That's a good spot for that. But what they don't tell you is that history is like the cheat codes for humanity. And if they had said, hey, Joe, if they sold history as like, listen, this is a bunch of stuff people before you did that sucked, and didn't work, and this is a bunch of stuff they did that did work. And basically, they've made some mistakes. Oh boy. They made some mistakes already, so you don't have to. It's kind of like a crib notes. You can kind of figure out what works, what didn't, and unfortunately, history tends to repeat. You know, it's cyclical, or it seems to be. So it is important to learn those things, not because it was like, well, you need to know this happened in 1776. It's because, hey, this happened. It tends to happen again. So keep your eyes open. You know, things tend to come in waves, I guess. So, you know, something that brings it in, and the more interact. God, this is great. This is totally awful. Just the sounds. You know, something that brings people into history and lets them realize how, one, useful it is, two, topical and applicable, I think, is important. Making subjects in school that suck fun, that would do so much for educating people, because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe this is anecdotal and there's, you know, someone just told me this in passing, but someone had mentioned a school that kind of did most of its education with interactive games, and surprise, surprise, it's doing great. Okay, let's do that. That's not going to get him, is it? That got nothing. But I got to get rid of the bomber. I'm going to do this. And, oh, you moved. Okay. I'm going to block this so I don't have to deal. And then we'll do this for that. And then we'll just start working our way, probably. Oh, got to take care of you. And we'll kind of move our way in and out. So I would say that is a good move. And the reason I say as an indie developer is it is topical, it is applicable, and if you do it right, every school in the nation after the first one that's successful is going to want your stuff. So consider that, how it can be used by many and hopefully for the betterment of all. And I think education, of course, is something that's really, really important, even though I did a really, really poor job at it myself. You can probably guess that the standard curriculum I wasn't too good at. I would say that's probably an understatement. But, you know, making something that people learn from is always good. But also, you know, what you're passionate about. You know, you can tell, I think, when you come across a game where you can tell the people loved it, that made it. You just do. And you can tell when they had fun. I got to move. Nope. That's a good spot for that sucker, though, or the two, just the one. Okay. You can tell this is a cool room. Look at that. That's a cool title card. It'll never happen, though. I'm going to go up in this corner. So we're going to do something like this. See what we're working with. Something above, maybe? That would be my guess. No. It's painted. But that's more for like a... I'm thinking commercial success, and that's not necessarily what you should be going for. You should do what you love. That's hard, man. You know, the question is kind of like, come up with an idea that hasn't been come up with. And I don't know if I have the brain for that, but I think this is great. You know, letting people flex their creativity. Look how much you can do and how much you can see about someone, just them, how they place blocks. That's insane. I can feel out certain people, not all. I mean, and some people, you know, they just hide it, but really well. But on the whole, people build the way that makes them feel good. You know, they're like, this is cool, I like this, or I want to do this. Like this person, you know, why? Why did he put the yellow here? What, you know, is this just a little gate in here? Does he want to watch the replays? What's with all the blue? Does he just like blue in here? Like, what the hell? It's just, you get this uniqueness, and it's just paint and blocks stacked. It's like Legos, but you're seeing all the different types of people that build with Legos, and then they're trying to kill you. So there's that. And I've seen so many different types of people, you know, and some people just do like fun things. It's not there to kill you. They're just like, hey, I thought of this cool thing. I thought you'd like it too. And they're right. You know, I love being challenged. I love being killed creatively. I love when people troll me. Please don't take that and run with it, because I don't want to get trolled forever. I like when people make fun stuff. I really appreciate when they make cool artistic stuff. To be fair, I like a lot of stuff. So, but I wasn't always that way. I was a, you know, I'm someone who likes their comfort, and, you know, I liked my things. I didn't venture too far out of that. I've in recent years kind of changed my tune, and I try and get out there a little bit more and just try stuff, you know. And I'll be honest, I don't regret it. I won't go back to the way I was, which is a little more isolated. And I say that in a very broad and loose sense. I've always had a good group of friends. I'm not like shut up in an attic or something or in a basement, as I'm recording from a basement, actually, ironically. So I've had people, but I was very wary about expanding that circle. And oh, I got to stop. I'm wasting his time. We'll go back to the base and I'll finish up there. I think that's fair. It was artistic. Didn't he almost get me? No. I'd say artistic. That's not shade either. I just, that's the one that came to my head. Uh, but yeah, concepts that haven't been done. That's a really tough one. I think getting, I think we're in an age where people can flex their creative muscles. I think there's an infinite amount of ways to do that. This is one of them. This is a game where you design a dungeon, people run through it and try and get something and pull it out Indiana Jones style. And you see how creative people have gotten. It's fucking insane. You can do that with just about any concept, you know? Give people a palette with paints and a 3D, you know, setting and let them paint. See what they create. Let them tell stories. You know, this one was interesting. And I'm sorry this video is going so long. I got to stop saying that because I totally made this to talk to you guys and answer questions and share ideas. So I'll get out of that. I promise. I just am a slow learner. I'm a fast thinker, slow learner. That's going to be on my tombstone. Was having a three-dimensional space, not unlike, you know, kind of those VR sessions that you see, you know, where people like, it gets a little weird with their, you know, weeaboos and their different avatars and stuff. But having a place where people can tell stories from all different nations, ethnicities, nationalities, subgroups, whatever you want to say, and have like a program that translates that as best it can, and maybe a translator that can speak multiple languages here and there. I realize this is a lofty goal, but the point is being able to wander from one group talking or telling a story by like a, I don't know, Anasazi or like Maasai warrior or something about, you know, what they believe in. And then you go to like, you know, a Russian who's telling one of their folk stories or just, you know, like you go up, you're wandering, your avatar is wandering up to groups huddled around a singular individual maybe, or maybe multiple, and they're teaching people stuff like a handy person, you know, like, hey, this is how you can fix your garage door. And they're kind of like manipulating it in a three-dimensional space, kind of drawn out. And you have all these people who will wander to those different groups and kind of see what they're interested in. And you can, you know, if you're not, you back off and you wander to another group, but it's going to expose you to so much stuff. I know this is like an impossible task. I get it. But how cool would it be to be like, you know, you're wandering and you hear French that's getting translated to English and you go over there and someone's, you know, telling a fairy tale in French, or even just a story about themselves or some of their history. I'm American. You probably figured that out. I don't know too much about world history. Although I'm a bad example because I was a really poor student. I know a lot about American history. I know very little about Canadian history, very little about Mexico, other than its founding, which I think was Tenochtitlan, right? With the eagle in the swamp. I might be wrong. Not too much else. And so I don't know. I have friends that have come over and immigrated. Not many, but their scope of what they learn about other countries is it's embarrassing for me sometimes, because I'm like, man, I just don't know. And it's because we're an inwardly focused kind of culture here, I guess, a little bit. We have a lot of different states, and believe me, people from different states, they can be very different. But so we kind of are a bunch of little tiny countries in one. I know that I'm reaching with that, but different states have different cultures. It's a real thing. So we're so occupied trying to learn our states and the people from those that we don't learn too much outside of that. And I think it'd be cool to even have people here. I just think it'd be a good idea to have a bunch of little groups that you could wander to, start listening to, and maybe you find something you're interested in. You know, maybe someone is teaching like, you know, like classic English lit. And you're like, I fucking hate that. But you're walking by and they're like telling a cool part of this story. And you're like, oh, that's fucking cool. And you walk over and you listen a little more and you're like, I guess I'm into the classics. Like, what the fuck? Or, you know, someone's playing on a piano and, you know, it's translating to this, you know, they're playing a whatever, an electronic keyboard in their apartment. But, you know, in this 3D space, you can kind of make it however you want, a piano. And they're playing the classics there. And you're like, oh shit, I guess I like classical music. Or, I like hard rock, or I like hip hop, or, you know, I'm into K-pop or whatever the fuck, you know, different genres there are. I just think exposure to one another in that setting in like a learning capacity would be really cool. And you would really only get the people that were curious in there and kind of open-minded. And I think you'd probably have a really fucking cool community. And I think that could really take off. I think social media in a lot of ways has been, I don't know. It's, you know, it's difficult. There's some stuff that comes with it that isn't so great, but connecting us and allowing us to share ideas. And, you know, when this, I still don't know what the hell happened with this algorithm. But one of the early comments was like, hey, I'm from Brazil. This is awesome. I'm like, what the fuck is a guy from Brazil looking at this? How the hell did he even find this video? And I just thought, man, this is so cool. And like, if I wanted, I could message it, and I think I did. I said, thanks, man, you know, for tuning in. That's awesome. But like, how cool is that? You know, that you can find other people with similar interests like you anywhere. That's, you know, that's new. We didn't have that quite when I was a kid. We were really on the beginning of the internet. And so it was like the ba-bong, ba-bong sound, you know, and someone called and kick you off and you get in a fight with your sister or something like that. So it's changed a lot. And I think for the better, you just got to be careful, you know. It can wear you down too if you're not careful. But I'm sorry, that was a long-winded again. I'm sorry for saying sorry, and I will try to do less of that. That was a really good question. As far as games, I just think we ride the creativity of the community and humanity because they're creative motherfuckers. And you also ride the connectedness and filling in those kind of learning stuff. Like, it's just fun. I mean, if you find something you love, it's not work. It isn't. And I love figuring out, like, you know, when it's like the kill boxes thing, people go in there like, fuck this. I'm like, I mean, yeah, but wouldn't it be cool if we like single-handedly broke this apart one piece by piece until we got it? And it's like, yeah. And then when you do it and you're like, cool, I got out of there with like a death or no deaths. And that guy was like, I'm going to fucking kill somebody. Like, that's cool, you know? So maybe it's a frame of mind a little bit too, but I think something along those lines. Ride the creativity, ride the connectedness, keep people connected, don't disconnect them. There's some bad agents out there, bad elements, but there always are, you know, wherever you go, you're going to find them. And so don't build around them. They'll come no matter what. There's always assholes. But good people finding other good people, that's a good goal. So whatever game you find that can connect people and make them, allow them to flex their creative muscles, go for it. I think that's your key. Thanks for asking that question. That was really good.